This is going to be not an anti-spin straightjacket tutorial, also titled Thoughts on Straightjackets and Crossers, General Stuff and Specific Things, mostly on split same. Big thanks to Eli Harrod, thank you Eli, for showing me a lot of these moves and sort of introducing me to some of these thoughts. Please give feedback if I misuse terms or am not correct in any jargon or physics. Hopefully if you watch what I'm doing, I can at least get the gist across of some of these ideas. I hope you find this stuff interesting and maybe even succinct as well. So there is a spectrum of movement possible within straightjackets and crossers, which is largely shared. That is my hypothesis, generally speaking, and can be achieved by gaining control of the motion of the poi from a second degree of twist with the wrists closely together. For example, this move we go, an inspin, extension, crosser. Can be done from a higher degree of twist by moving the wrists close together. So I'm going to enter a higher degree of twist, a straightjacket, and a straightjacket normally done here, can be done here, with the wrists closer together but maintaining a crossed position at a higher degree of twist, or something like that. So I'll try to show the inspin extension move from that position, which would look something like this. It might not be totally perfect. There. Move a little closer to the camera. So as you can see, I'm still in a straightjacket position, but doing essentially the same move as the crosser. Okay? Okay. They're doing the same shape, a one-petal inspin flower with the petal behind the body on the non-native side. So you can see this in a crosser. If you watch just one poi, and I start doing the extension as I come across, it's this shape. Oop. Disregard that pedal. There we go. So pedal, extend, pedal, extend, pedal, extend, pedal, extend. In the crosser, the pedal happens here. So I'm deforming the plane around my body so I can get a pedal behind my back. There is a spectrum of motion within the crosser from tight and close to the body, like so, all the way to large and flowery. For example, the one I just demoed, the one-petal inspin flower. This can be achieved by accentuating leg movement to become circular, or core movement less legs. There we go, something like this. Arm movement, which would be similar to what Alien John demos, only without the sliding. So less core movement, more arm movement, there we go. Or, and what happens I think most of the time, for most people anyway, from what I've observed, a combination of these. The cross points, which note are sort of a separate motion than the circular motion, which creates flowers, more of a twisting along the spinal axis, I believe, have a similar range of how the motion can be created, either by twisting along the spine, or not twisting and just moving the arms, or a combination of these, twisting along the spine and moving the arms. Tight and close to the body, or larger. But essentially the same move. Body twisting to create the cross point is probably the easiest way to do it, probably due to the strength of the core. I can barely twist my body, and while hardly moving my arms at all, still make a cross point. Ooh, okay. Tricatras are an easy way to do this shape, a crosser extension, antispin. The shape of the tricatra, that I use anyway, is an overlapping triangle shape with the right angle triangles, like this. Alright, so like this. There we go. On one side, this triangle without the cross point. Note it's kind of a box mode-ish triangle, tricatra, whatever. And there's with the plane deformation, which kind of feels funky. And on the other side, note how it is under the arm for this particular crossing orientation. Could certainly be done over the arm. 2 petals on the non-native side and down, creating this shape. Just to draw it with my hands in a different timing. Hopefully you can see the way the triangles are overlapping. To do the 1 petal inspin extension, okay, I think I already went over that. So I went over the straightjacket position with the 1 petal inspin extension. I'm going to just point out that from that position, right here, there is a small degree of motion where I can slide my hands in closer to either my wrists or my armpit. Note how, when my wrists are close together, if I hadn't mentioned this already, I'll mention it again, because it's quite important. I don't think I've mentioned it yet. So when my wrists are like this, and I'm doing this sort of thing, I'm actually pushing the tethers from my wrists. Kind of has almost a contact-y feel. I'm pushing the tether of my left hand going up, and I'm pushing the tether of the poi in my right hand coming down. I'm mostly doing this to keep the deformation of the plane accurate as to create a cross point without hitting my body. Hopefully that shows up in the camera okay. So now, I will enter the realms of moves I cannot yet do, certainly not very cleanly, but I can conceptualize about. So I will hypothesize, and I sort of said this earlier, I think most, maybe all, moves you can do in a crosser can be performed in a straightjacket as well, including the antispin crosser, or opposite crossers, using that same shape, that overlapping right triangle, only from this position instead of a crosser, with the hands at the wrists. So the spectrum of motion applicable to crossers applies to straightjackets, as well as just individual moves. tighter, closer to the body, with either the flower motion or the cross point motion, the twisting motion. By my reckoning, these moves are of course just different coordinates along the spectrum of motion. I have one more I was going to demo, which is going to be this, but moved closer and closer to my body on the top until I'm almost sort of taking my hands over and behind my head at the very top. So again, I can also move it out in front, closer to behind my heads, well, head, one head, and such. Again, not very clean, but hopefully you get the idea. It would be very difficult to do an anti-spin straightjacket extension crosser. Well, no, sorry. Anti-spin straightjacket, yes. Crosser type move. But certainly not impossible. Hope you find this interesting. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much, and thank you so much for watching.